Okay, here we go. Where is Shohei Ohtani going to play in 2024? I know we still have the 2023 season to get through, but this is Shohei Ohtani we're talking about here. This is juicy stuff. We got a couple of stories from this past week. First off, with Bob Nightingale of USA Today. The worst kept secret in baseball is that the Los Angeles Dodgers are trying to stay below the luxury tax to jump in with all of their might to sign Shohei Ohtani as a free agent after the season. Their stiffest competition, the San Diego Padres, who also plan to be all in. We have another report as well from Alden Gonzalez of ESPN. In conversations with rival agents and executives, one team is mentioned more often than any other, the Los Angeles Dodgers, but the New York Mets and the San Francisco Giants have been brought up by a handful of rival executives in recent days in the wake of Correa's bizarre reunion with the Minnesota Twins. Now, I'm going to go over all of the teams that I think will be in the running for Shohei Ohtani, but before I get to that, let's just go take a look at his numbers. And of course, you know what you're getting with Ohtani. You're getting a bat, and you're getting an arm as well. Taking a look at the offense, hit 273 last year, a 356 on base, a 519 slugging, a 142 WRC plus, 34 homers. But he was even better on the mound last year. 28 starts, 166 innings pitched, a 2.33 ERA, a 2.40 FIP, almost 12 strikeouts per nine, a little over 2 strikeouts per nine, under a home run per nine. Shohei Ohtani is absolutely fantastic. Now, if we go take a look at his value, now, with Ohtani, it's going to be very interesting when it comes to his contract. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what kind of a contract this guy is going to get. I would imagine he's going to get anywhere from 40 to 50 million per season. I'm just wondering about the years because I wonder what teams think about him long-term, durability-wise. So I think that's going to be the more interesting part of the contract. But I could definitely see him getting, 8, 10, 11, who knows, maybe even 12 years. I don't know. But I think the durability part of the contract, long term, I think is going to be really interesting. However, let's take a look at his value. Now, if we look at his offense over the last 2 seasons, 40 million in 2021 and then 30 million last year on average, that is 35 million per season just with the bat. Now, if we take a look at the pitching, 24 million in 2021 and then 45 million last year. That's right around 70 million total, 35 million per season. 35 with the offense, 35 with the pitching. You're looking at a value of $70 million on the field. That is absolutely insane. He is averaging $70 million worth of field performance value over the last couple of seasons. So that's why I think it is absolutely realistic. He's going to get anywhere from $40 to $50 million per season. Again, what will the length of the contract be? I don't know. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I'm intrigued to see what all of you think. But let's get to the teams that I think will be in the running for Shohei Ohtani in 2024. We have to start off with the team that Shohei Ohtani is already with, the LA Angels. They would love to keep him long term, but I think there's a couple of things in play here. How will the Angels do this season competitively? I think that's going to be a big thing. Shohei Ohtani has said in the past he wants to be with a winner. If the Angels aren't in contention this year and they're not making some noise in the playoffs, I think Ohtani is not going to want to stick around. And there's another thing, too. What's going on with ownership? It's a bit up in the air. Artie Moreno is looking to sell the franchise. Finally, my goodness, Artie Moreno, please get out of town. But with the Angels, that whole situation is up in the air. What will Ohtani think about, just ownership-wise, just the stability of the organization long term. I definitely think that's going to come into play a little bit. If we take a look at the payroll, obviously you're paying Trout long term, Rendon. That has not been a very good contract as of right now. But other than that, you don't really have a whole lot of money allocated elsewhere. You got Tyler Anderson for a few years, but the Angels definitely will have the payroll. But again, I think it's really going to come down to what happens this year competitively, what happens with, the sale of the entire organization, what does Artie Moreno do there? Who does he sell to? I think that's going to be a big thing. Ohtani, at the end of the day, he wants to know who he's going to be working for at the end of the day. So, but the Angels, I don't know. I think they're at a bit of a disadvantage right now because there are question marks within their organization. Speaking of winning, let's talk about the LA Dodgers. They won 111 games last year. They win a lot of games every single year, and I think that already is going to be the selling point for Shohei Ohtani. Like I said with the Angels, he wants to play for a winner. The Dodgers, they like to win, and they have a lot of money. So they're definitely going to be I think the top contender for Shohei Ohtani, and obviously, still being right around the same area, not going to have to go far to go play for the Dodgers. I mean, with the Dodgers, with Bob Nightingale, he mentioned that they've been trying to stay under the luxury tax, and I do think that is very telling. Sure, the whole Bauer thing, they're going to have to pay him, what is it, like 21 million bucks this year after DFAing him, but in the end, if you take a look at the payroll for the Dodgers, you're really only locked up with Betts and Freeman long term. What do you do with Kershaw? He's just signing 1-year deals every single year. Chris Taylor signed up for a few more years. But you got a lot of money coming off the books. You do have a couple of guys you're going to have to make a decision on, like Urias. He's going to be a free agent after this year. I would imagine they would want to sign him to some kind of an extension. Walker Buehler, what happens with him? I think they want to see how he does coming back from Tommy John. Dustin May in a few years. So there are some decisions they're going to have to make when it comes to guys that are approaching free agency. But the Dodgers, I mean, they have so many advantages right now. They win. They have payroll space. I mean, I think right now you have to put the Dodgers as the top contender for Shohei Ohtani. Speaking of contenders, let's talk about the Dodgers' rivals, the San Diego Padres. I definitely think the Padres are going to get in on this. If you take a look at how they were this past offseason, they were going after guys. They were going after Aaron Judge, Trey Turner. They ended up landing Xander Bogaerts. I still cry myself to sleep every single night. But the Padres, they're always trying to make some noise. And just looking at the Padres as of right now, it's a very good-looking team. I'll talk about Machado here in just a second, but you only have really a couple of guys that you got signed up long-term. Xander Bogaerts, like I mentioned, Fernando Tatis Jr., Joe Musgrove you signed, but that's a pretty decent deal if you ask me. $20 million per season for Joe Musgrove, that's not too bad. But other than that, not a whole lot locked up. Now, of course, there is Manny Machado. I did not mention him because who knows what's going to happen with him. The reports is that he will opt out, and I definitely think that could go in favor of the Padres. If you got all that money coming off the books, then all that money can go towards Shohei Ohtani. I think they will be very aggressive. They were mentioned as a possible landing spot at this past year's trade deadline until the Angels came out and said, no, we're not trading Shohei Ohtani. So, sure, I think the Dodgers are the top contenders for Ohtani, but I think the Padres, they're always aggressive. Look how aggressive they were for Xander Bogaerts. I mean, they blew everyone out of the water when it came to, offering him an 11-year deal. The Red Sox, they made a last-minute attempt, trying to bring him in or bring him back. But the Padres walked in and said, okay, we'll give you 11 years. And then everyone else was like, all right, I'm a head out. So I definitely think the Padres, they're going to be very aggressive for Ohtani. Let's stay in the state of California and talk about the San Francisco Giants. I absolutely think it makes complete sense for the Giants to get in on the Ohtani sweepstakes. Alden Gonzalez mentioning that the Giants will be in the running. And again, it makes a whole ton of sense. Look at what they were doing this past offseason. Now, they swung and missed on Aaron Judge. Carlos Correa, they pulled out after they saw the physical. They did land Arson Judge, though. But for the San Francisco Giants, I think it makes a ton of sense for them to go after Ohtani. Will that stigma stick with them? They go after these big names all the time and they just can't seem to land the big one. But I think they got a real shot at landing Ohtani. If you take a look here at the payroll, they're very under the luxury tax line. They got free agents next year. Jock Peterson, Crawford will come off the books, Alex Wood as well. To me, they need that face of the franchise kind of a guy. I think if they were that aggressive for Aaron Judge, I think they're going to have the same level of aggressiveness when it comes to Ohtani. Will they blow everyone out of the water when it comes to, landing Ohtani? Imagine if maybe they just offered a little bit more for Aaron Judge. Could they have landed him? What if they offered Judge something like $380 to $400 million? Could they have landed him? I don't know. But I think they could go that extra mile for Ohtani. we'll just have to wait and see. Last but not least, the New York Mets. What an offseason the New York Mets had. Yes, they did not land Carlos Correa in the end, but my goodness, they had a heck of an offseason, just adding names left and right. Justin Verlander, bringing back Brandon Nimmo, bringing back Edwin Diaz, signing Kadai Senga, bringing in Jose Quintana. Man, a ton of moves for the New York Mets. You know, sure, they lost Jacob deGrom, but bringing in Verlander on that 2-year deal, has the vesting option for a 3rd year. What a move that was. And as where I'm getting to here, the Mets are obviously going to be aggressive, especially when it comes to a guy like Ohtani. I mean, Ohtani is really the face of the game right now, and I think Steve Cohen absolutely will look at Ohtani, and this guy will be drooling out of the mouth trying to bring Ohtani to Queens. I mean, yes, that payroll is very high. $350 million for 2023. That's the estimated. Actually, as of right now, it's looking like it's going to be right around 362.5. I mean, that is just staggering. But you will have some money coming off the books in the next couple of years. You know, Scherzer, like I mentioned with Verlander. But long term, you really only have 2 guys here. You know, Edwin Diaz and then Senga as well. But, you know, going all the way to 2029, you got Lindor and Nimmo locked up. Other than that, you know, you're not really locked up to a lot of long-term deals like the length of these guys. So I definitely could see them adding one more long-term kind of a deal like Ohtani, and especially, you know, with Ohtani, the revenue that he would bring in, I could absolutely see Steve Cohen thinking it's worth it. Out of all the teams right now, you know, according to the reports, they're the only team that's not on the West Coast to be mentioned in the running for Shohei Ohtani. But I think the Mets, the way they've been aggressive the last couple of off seasons, I definitely think they're going to be in the running for Ohtani. You know, you got some other teams out here as well. You know, could you maybe see the Texas Rangers get involved? They got money. They're trying to get back to just winning ways. I could definitely see the Texas Rangers maybe getting involved. You know, maybe even like a dark horse kind of a team like the Seattle Mariners. Could they maybe get involved somehow? Obviously bringing in Ichiro a long time ago, so they have those ties as well. You know, the Yankees obviously have the money, but will they go after someone like Shohei Ohtani? I'm not really quite sure about that, especially after signing Aaron Judge. You know, could my Red Sox? I don't know, probably not. I don't think Chaim Bloom is going to do that. So we're just going to have to wait and see here. But again, I think in the end, I think the Dodgers right now have to be the favorites for Ohtani. It just makes so much sense. They win. They have money. It's right there in Los Angeles. He's not going to have to go very far. But I definitely think you can't count out these other teams as well. The Padres, the Giants, they're going to be aggressive. I think the Mets, they're going to throw money at Ohtani like they throw money at everywhere else. So, and again, I mentioned Correa with the Mets too. They would have brought in Correa long term, so they were completely okay with it. So if they were okay with bringing in Carlos Correa, even though they did pull out in the end, they did want him long term. If they were okay with bringing in Correa, I absolutely see them being okay bringing in Shohei Ohtani. But we'll just have to wait and see how this all turns out. I know we're still very far away from this. You know, could we maybe see Ohtani get traded at the trade deadline? I think that's going to come down to how will the Angels perform this year? And speaking of the Angels, I don't think you can count them out as well. We're going to have to wait and see how this all turns out. Let me know in the comments, where is Shohei Ohtani going to be playing in 2024? But that's all I have for right now, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.